Hey, football fans, welcome to another edition of the J&J Sports Express. I'm your co-host, Jeff Cadillac, and alongside is my co-host, JB Ellis. Hey, JB, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. What about you?
I'm doing pretty good. As usual, we're going to be looking at 5 exciting games across the NFL schedule. I just want to recap how we did last week. We both went 3-2. We both liked the Chargers on Thursday night. We both liked Miami at Baltimore. We kind of both liked Vegas, who started out with a 20-0 halftime lead and decided to lose the game going further, 29-23 in overtime. And then on the Sunday night game, we were split. I liked Green Bay. JB liked Chicago. Green Bay won by 17. And on Monday night, it was almost no contest. I thought Tennessee would at least show up and give it a game. JB was right on the money that Buffalo was going to blow them out. So we both ended up the week 3-2, but we got a whole new week of exciting games. And let's get right to it. First game that we're looking at this week is Buffalo at Miami. Miami's getting 5.5. How you like this game, JB? JB, we kind of lost you there.
I think they're the team this year. I don't see Buffalo having much trouble. Miami had a phenomenal comeback against Baltimore. Unheard of, ridiculous comeback.
Losing you on the feed there.
And with the comeback, you put all that energy into it. Now Tua, ranked one of the top passers in the league. That's not a true stat when you have almost 500 yards in one game. Against Baltimore was a fluke, the phenomenal comeback, but Baltimore's too good. I don't see Baltimore having any trouble with them. I like Baltimore by a touchdown or more.
You mean Buffalo?
Yes, Buffalo. I'm thinking Baltimore last week. You see?
Okay. So
I'm still in shock over the comeback.
Okay. All right. I hear you. I have to disagree with you on this one. I like Miami. I think their defense is, hey, look, every game, certain games, is a little tough to understand. Miami had a great comeback last week, correct? Their offense didn't get started until, say, later in the game. I like Miami. I don't. Josh Allen, after Monday night, can you keep it up? 41 points in the first 3 quarters, and then he goes out. Yeah, Buffalo is a great team, but playing on the road at Miami's a lot better than the first week of the Rams that the Buffalo played. Tua also has some great receivers. Okay, he's got Jalen Waddle back there. He's got Tyreek Hill. They can get behind anybody. Now, I'm not saying Buffalo's going to, take a dive or anything on this, but I think the game's going to be a little closer. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think Miami's going to give them a run for their money. And, we'll see what happens. Buffalo's coming off a short week as well. And that's something to consider. I know a lot of people don't figure that, but it does figure in the week of the NFL. That loss of the day.
Buffalo is on a mission this year. I'm not saying they're not going to lose. I'm not saying that, they're going to be undefeated. But right now, they are in the zone. They are going to take care of Miami. Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs are going to have a nice day. They're going to continue what they're doing. Yes, Miami's got some great receivers. Jalen Waddle, great young receiver. Tyreek Hill made it a lot easier for him because now, you have to pay attention to, 2 really good receivers. A lot harder. You can't double up somebody as often. So, but I don't see this as a game that Miami has a shot to win. It's going to be interesting, though, because I did call last week and I said, if Miami wants to show they're for real and they want to compete with Buffalo, they got to go out and beat the Ravens. And they had a spectacular comeback, but I think that also takes a lot out of you when that happens.
Right. And when you score 41 points, it's a lot of running around. You get tired. So a lot of times the next game is a little closer, and that's why I think it'll be closer. Miami definitely has to keep Josh Allen and that offense off the field. If they get their running game going early, I think it's going to be a great game. So we agree to disagree on this game. But moving to the second game, it's Baltimore at New England. Baltimore is laying 3 at New England. New England's the home dog. How do you like this game, JB?
So this is going to be an interesting game. You got Baltimore coming off of a really horrible collapse where they just fell apart in that fourth quarter. They gave up, a ridiculous number of points. Their defense, which is usually stout, fell apart. Lamar Jackson had a long 79-yard run, throwing the ball well. He's got about 530 yards passing for the year. He's looking really good. Um, New England went it and played Pittsburgh, won a close game, and Pittsburgh, their offense is horrible. New England's defense is pretty good. I don't see this being as close as it could be. Baltimore being on the road makes it a little bit tougher. But for 3 points, I'd probably buy a half a point, but I would take Baltimore -3 as well.
Again, I tend to disagree with you on this one. I believe your points, but the funny thing is that New England, and remember, if Bill Belichick wasn't there in New England, I would agree with you on Baltimore. But New England with Belichick, it's a different ball game. He comes up with schemes. He knows that he has to stop Lamar Jackson from running. If he stops Lamar Jackson from running, then he's got a shot. If the running game in Baltimore is completely dead and you have to rely on Lamar Jackson's arm, then this game is going to be all New England, if he's able to do that. If they stop him up front, they get the cornerbacks to help out on the line of scrimmage, I think this game is going to fall New England's way. Mac Jones has to be patient. He has to take – because the secondary for Baltimore is terrible. If he could get guys behind them, the game is over. You saw how easily Miami took advantage of Baltimore's secondary. They are terrible back there. They are guys that either go for it all, and a lot of times when you go for it all, you either hit or you miss, and that's the way Baltimore secondary plays. And if Mac Jones sees what they're doing up front and up close, he can beat these guys. And that's why I think it's going to be a tighter game than last week for Baltimore. And New England's got a shot here. In fact, the last 9 games, Baltimore versus New England is 7-2 straight up and 6-2-1 against the spread. Now, obviously, some of those games were played with Brady as the quarterback, but a lot of things don't change when one team plays another. The trend usually stays the same, and I happen to think that New England has a good shot here, especially since they're playing at home and Bill Belichick is the coach.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, I get what you're saying as far as Belichick being a great coach. I don't disagree. Coaching-wise, obviously the edge goes to New England. Talent-wise, though, on both sides of the ball, Baltimore is better. They're offensively a million times better than anything New England has. Mark Andrews is a phenomenal tight end. They have some nice receivers. Their running game's a little bit of disarray. We got to see if Dobbins comes back and he's able to solidify their running game a little bit. That'll be interesting to see. New England is really good defensively. So I really like Baltimore here. I'm going to have to disagree with you yet again.
Okay.
It's definitely going to be a fun game to watch.
Okay. One of the best matchup, and I probably talked about matchup all week, is this game coming up that we're also looking at. It's Green Bay at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is at home, and they're laying 2.5 in this game. What do you think, JB? My thoughts exactly. I can't hear you. Are you on mute again?
Mike Evans is suspended for a week.
Right.
So he's out, which is a big loss to the Tampa Bay offense. Brady is a little banged up. He's not looking like himself. Green Bay's already got a loss on the year, so they're going to be playing, to try and win where Tampa hasn't lost yet. I don't know. And then Tampa Bay just came off a tough game in New Orleans. It's a big rivalry game for them. They get really, heated with them. Usually when you have a really heated game, the next week you kind of come down a little bit. Even though they're playing another tough opponent in Green Bay, it's just natural that you can't get up 2 weeks in a row like that. Green Bay's offense has looked phenomenal the first, couple of weeks. I think that they're just going to get better. The mistakes they made the first week, they weren't making in week 2. I like Green Bay here.
Okay. Well, I like Green Bay, but for different reasons. First of all, week 1 was against a division rival. Division rivalry games are completely different than games against teams that are not in the division. Minnesota was up for that game. Zadarius Smith was on the other side of the ball. He felt snubbed by Green Bay. It was a statement game for him, kind of like a payback game. So they went after Rodgers with a vengeance. Minnesota has won a lot of games against Green Bay. So, either way, that game could have gone either way from the get-go. The next week, Green Bay owns Chicago. Rodgers even said it. It's a different type of game. The offense was back on track. No pressure on Rodgers. Please, if Rodgers back there sitting there in the pocket and there's no pressure on him, forget it. He could score 40 points easy. I think they kind of did what they had to do. They knew, make the almost, I'm not saying make the gamblers happy, but everybody knows what the spread is. And they wanted to send a statement that, they own Chicago. You mentioned Mike Evans being suspended. His suspension was upheld today. So going forward on his appeal, he's out for this game definitely. Tampa Bay went and signed Cole Beasley, who's been a very good slot receiver in his career. He's played with Buffalo and Dallas. And Julio Jones looks like he's going to be out for this game as well. So you have a lot of guys, targets for Tom Brady that are out. But Green Bay should be pumped for this game because Rodgers, back in 2020, when the last time these two teams played, during the season, Green Bay at Tampa Bay, Green Bay had scored the first 10 points, and it looked like they were going to rout Tampa Bay, and Aaron Rodgers threw a pick six, and it went the other way, and they lost 38-10. Then in the championship game, which was at Green Bay, Tampa Bay came in and beat Green Bay to advance to the Super Bowl and eventually beat Kansas City in the Super Bowl. So Rodgers has probably been thinking about this and saying to himself, hey, I got to beat these guys in their own backyard, and this is what I have to do. You want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And this is a definitely marquee game. I don't even know why it's not on Sunday night, but it's 4 o'clock Eastern time, and I think it's going to be a great game. I like Green Bay in this game, getting the 2.5. I think they're going to win by at least 7. Brady, there's a lot of things going on in his head, but he's still doing what he needs to do. He's able to compartmentalize things. He's able to say, hey, okay, I got to play for the game, and he's doing it. I like the way they beat Tampa Bay last week. I had Tampa Bay. That was my pick of the week on Twitter, folks. If you're following me at Jeff Cadillac 1, hey, I need some followers. So, punch it in. You get those picks. You get news. Everything's free, folks. So, at Jeff Cadillac 1, I want to see followers after the show. I want to see it, ramble on like a slot machine. But I loved Tampa Bay last week at New Orleans. They had a bone to pick. Brady was 0-4 straight up and against the spread against New Orleans as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer quarterback. So I like what they did last week, but I think Green Bay goes on to Tampa and wins this game moving forward.
So what do you think the key for Green Bay to do in this game?
The running game. They got to establish the running game early, get a lot of the people thinking run game. They ran heavy versus Chicago because Chicago really can't stop anybody. But once you pound that ball, you take a lot of time off the clock and you make sure that the defense doesn't know what's coming next. If you have an even, balanced attack, the defense is always thinking. They don't react because they don't know what's coming. And that's an important fact. A lot of these, head coaches, they want to pass first and, kind of, they feel they have an elite quarterback. Well, guess what? You need a balanced attack. That's what keeps the defense on their toes. And if they can establish the run game, they will control the game. So that's what I think Green Bay needs to do. For Tampa Bay to really control this game, they got to get people healthy before they can even think about a game plan.
Yeah, I mean, the injuries for Tampa, the suspension really didn't help. Mike Evans, even though he's not the same Mike Evans of old, he's still a big target, and that's a big loss. I think that they're in a lot of trouble. I don't see – I mean, it's going to be a fun game to watch. I do agree with you. This should have been the Sunday night game. I don't know why the NFL didn't make this the Sunday night game, because this would have been a game that I think you would have had record ratings for a Week 3 game.
I agree with you. Temp, who doesn't like? I mean, Rogers just being, last week on Sunday night, 2 Sunday nights, hog. I mean, it's kind of. I see what you're saying, and sometimes they want to showcase some other teams on Sunday night. I understand.
Well, I mean, they've put
So that
The Bears Packers on Sunday night the last few years. They could have probably put the Bears in a different matchup and put the Packers Tampa on Sunday night. I thought, I think that would have been a lot better for ratings and a lot more to shake up the schedule and get more viewership and just a better look for the primetime games.
Well, later in the season, they do have the flex schedule, so they're able to, if they see something's coming up, they'll flex it out. Um, Speaking of Sunday night, the Sunday night game is San Francisco -1.5 at Denver. What
This
do you
is a
think?
fascinating game. I mean, Trey Lance broke his ankle, had surgeries, out for the year. We're back to Jimmy G. All the talk the week before was, should Dallas go all out there and get Jimmy G from San Francisco? And it was huge. I mean, we spoke about it on Sideline Sports for a while.
It wasn't even
And,
Dallas; it was other teams.
well, yeah,
Cleveland.
but the last week per se, when Dak went down after week one, the big talk was Dallas because they needed somebody immediately. And sure enough, next week Trey Lance goes out and breaks his ankle. So, here comes Jimmy G trotting in, doing what Jimmy G does, managing a game, nothing spectacular, and San Francisco wins.
But yeah, he does win. But I will tell you something interesting about this line. The line started out this week as Denver as the favorite, but the money started going on San Francisco, and now they're the favorite. So, I'm not first. Denver doesn't impress me one bit. Nathaniel Hackett doesn't impress me one bit. He's never called plays before. He was the offensive coordinator in Green Bay. He didn't call the plays in Green Bay. This is his first time going around. Okay. So him and Russell Wilson, Russell Wilson saying he backed his coach's decision to kick a 64-yard field goal against Seattle. Who are we kidding? Come on. Yeah, I mean, that's a ridiculous statement to even say or to even think. Denver couldn't even score points against Houston last week. All right. They had trouble. They were down 9-6 in the fourth quarter, and they finally scored a touchdown. So they had problems against Houston. San Francisco is like a brand new team with Jimmy G. Okay. They know him. He knows them. He knows the offense. Everybody's pumped. San Francisco was a different team after last week, after Trey Lance went down, unfortunately. Jimmy G comes in. I liked Seattle last week getting the points with Trey Lance in there. Once Jimmy G comes in, it's like a whole different team. You might as well just say, all right, here comes the blowout. Because the defense got pumped up. The offense got pumped up. They know how to work with Jimmy G. Trey Lance is brand new, really. So they're just feeling it out. Now, it's a whole different ball game. They can actually almost like relax. I don't have anything bad to say about Trey Lance. I'm sorry, about what happened to him. Hopefully he gets a shot when he comes back. He comes back fully recovered. But speaking right now, the team knows Jimmy G. He took him to the championship game last year, and they almost were ready to run him out of town. So, but in this game, I like San Francisco. Later 1.5. They're going to beat Denver on Sunday night.
So, did you watch any of the Denver-Houston game? Did you
Yes.
get a chance to see any of
Yes.
it? So, Nathaniel Hackett, I'm not sure if he's going to last a year as a head coach. To me, it seems as if he doesn't understand his own coaching philosophy. I mean, he's gotten the job. He makes the decisions, but he doesn't look like he knows what he wants to do. There were a couple of times during that game where guys weren't out on the field, weren't ready to go. He changed his mind. He flip-flopped on plays. To be a head coach, you have to have a philosophy. It's different when you're a coordinator. You're just and when you're not calling the plays. But once you start calling the plays, it's your show.
Well, I said he was the offensive coordinator in Green Bay, but he didn't call the plays. So
right, exactly. So
he's basically in a trial and error situation. And trial and error situation doesn't work too long in the NFL. Okay? I don't even know why Russell Wilson doesn't call his own plays. But that makes no sense to me.
Cadillac, even if you never call plays before, you in your head, if I told you you're going to run whatever your team is this week, you're a Rams fan, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you got the Rams job tomorrow. You're going to call the plays. Do you know what type of offense you're going to run?
Not
You may not.
tomorrow.
You have no idea what you're going to run. I know what offense I'm running.
I just got the job today, and you want me to call the plays tomorrow?
You got to call the plays tomorrow. You don't have an idea in your head what your scheme's going to be. I'm not saying you're going to know everything, but you're.
When I get the job, I'll let you know. All right.
Listen,
what I'm saying is this guy's been an NFL guy, and he still doesn't know what's going on. But who do you like, JB? Who do you like in this game?
There's not even a question. This is San Francisco all day. San Francisco is going to destroy them. Denver, they don't run the ball when they should be running the ball. Russell Wilson has looked out of place. The coach has no idea what he wants to run. I don't see how this is even going to be a close game. And now you got Jimmy G, who knows how to manage the offense. Not that Lance was bad at quarterback, but he was young and he was learning. It's a little bit different when you're learning compared to experience to running just what you need to do. I think San Francisco wins easily.
Okay. Monday Night Football, Dallas at the Giants. The Giants are the favorite by 2.5. How you liking this game?
So, the Giants are 2-0. You got Cooper Rush playing quarterback for Dallas. It seems like a perfect setup right off the bat for the Giants to be 3-0. The game's going to be really close. I like the Giants. It's a division game. I think the Giants right now, the coaching is where the Giants are actually better, which is scary to say because for many years, the last 4, 5, 6 years, we couldn't say that since Tom Coughlin left. The Giants haven't been able to say that they've had the better coaching. But right now, their coaching staff seems to know what they're doing. Dallas, who has a phenomenal running back, Zeke Elliott, should be a workhorse. They're giving him the ball 10, 12 times a game. He's averaging 5 yards a carry. And then he disappears because they're not giving him the ball. And now on top of that, you have Cooper Rush, who, people are writing today how Dallas's offense looks better with Cooper Rush than Dak Prescott. I don't know what kind of NFL football they're watching because that's absurd.
All right. I know where you're leaning on this, and I know you're going to be picking the Giants in this game, and I'm not picking the Giants in this game. I like Dallas in this game because the Giants, the 2-0 record, it's going to be crashing down this coming weekend. They're not going to be going 3-0. Dallas has a much better defense.
By far.
Cooper Rush has definitely been doing what he's been told to do. He's a backup. He's managing the game. Okay. He's learning more offense. Daniel Jones had a nice game last week against Carolina. But Carolina, they stink. They're not
question
that good.
About it.
They're not that good. So the fact, and plus Baker Mayfield creates unforced turnovers and mistakes. So beating Carolina, yes, it's good for the Giants and it's good for the home crowd and the fans and everything, but it's not what's known as a quality win. Okay? A quality win is beating a team that, like a Green Bay, like a Tampa Bay, like, San Francisco, or, maybe even beating Dallas on Monday night, which I don't think is going to happen because Daniel Jones is going to be making some mistakes. He didn't make any mistakes against Carolina. Well, he's due. He's due to make some mistakes. And Cooper Rush, the quarterback, is going to manage the game as well as I think he's going to manage it. Plus, Ezekiel Elliott needs to get going, like you said. He's a workhorse guy, but this is a big season. This is a big year for Ezekiel Elliott. If he doesn't produce this year, you can guarantee he's going to be gone.
But he is producing.
And Micah Parsons is going to be a beast in this game. He is a beast. He's going to be a beast. I like the defense for the Cowboys. I think the Giants, unfortunately, are going to turn the ball over a couple of times, and the Cowboys are going to pounce on it. That's why I like Dallas in this game.
I can't disagree with the Dallas defense perspective of it. I agree completely. The Dallas defense right now is elite. Micah Parsons is phenomenal. Talk of MVP right now. I think it's a bit early to say that.
I don't even talk. It doesn't even matter. After two games, you say MVP, VP, OPP. It doesn't even matter.
But the Giants do have a quality win on the road against Tennessee. And
Tennessee's terrible. Tennessee is terrible.
The
Okay.
Dallas coaching staff does not hand the ball to Zeke when they should. You got a workhorse back. You give him the ball 10 times. You're hurting your offense. That offense should run through Zeke. He should carry the ball 20 plus times a
And
game.
Pollard. And when he's tired, bring Pollard in and
Right.
let him run. And if they combine that and use that and throw some passes in between, they will control the ball. Look, Dallas last week against Cincinnati, they were up 17-3. They let Cincinnati come back, and they sacked Burrows 6 times. What if Daniel Jones is a perfect candidate for? If there's pressure on him, he will make mistakes. If he sees 2 guys coming from both sides, he's going to have happy feet and he's going to make a mistake. And that's what Cowboys looking at the tape. That's what they're going to do. The offensive line for the Giants doesn't have a great history, and that's what I think is going to happen on Monday night.
I mean, I can't say that you're crazy with your thought process, but I'm just thinking with the backup at Cooper Rush and the way that they handle their offense, that Dallas isn't going to score many points either. You know, if you had Dak in there, my pick is reversed. I'm taking Dallas. With Cooper Rush in there, I got to go with the Giants in a close game, low scoring, defensive battle.
Even if Dak is in there, the Giants have found a way to beat Dak. So
I'm not disagreeing.
It's not even saying, it's not even if Dak was in there, I'd pick Dallas. It's what we have in front of us. I mean, he's not the end all. And
I'm not saying that, but right now there's a quality difference between the two. That doesn't mean that Cooper Rush can't turn into a quarterback like Dak or be as good as him in a couple of years with some playing time, because Dak isn't by far anywhere near the best in the game either. But there's different levels of quarterbacks.
That is true. So you like the Giants and I like Dallas. We really disagreed on about three out of the 5 games this week.
It's going to be interesting.
It will be, JB. And
so
go ahead.
Where can people find you?
People can find me on my website at jeffcadillac.com. I got all the games every week analyzed for free. You can find my best bet of the week on Twitter at jeffcadillac1. You can find me on sportskita.com, Sideline Sports, and I'm even doing some guest spots on the Better Sports Network app. So those are the places you can find me every week, and Sideline Sports every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time with my co-host, JB Ellis of Sideline Sports.
So I know we spoke about 5 games. We got like a minute left. Any other games stick out to you that you're really excited to see this week?
Off the top of my head, I really, can't think of anything right off the top of my head at this moment. I'm going to ask you. We have enough time to really analyze it, so I don't want to really comment on a game and then just leave everybody hanging.
All right, I'm going to ask you 2 quick questions. The Eagles, are they for real? And Detroit's offense with the running game.
Well, I will tell you this. I like Jalen Hurts. I have a friend of mine who's a fan down in South Philly. He lives in South Philly. He's been an Eagle fan his whole life. I told him I like Jalen Hurts. I said, you give him some time in the pocket, you give him some weapons around him, and you watch this guy shine. He destroyed Minnesota. He put up some points against Detroit week 1. Detroit did come back in that game for the backdoor cover, but hey, it happens in the NFL. I like Jalen Hurts. I think he's making some good decisions. He comes from Alabama. They know how to play football down there. So I'm liking Jalen Hurts a lot.
I agree completely with that. What about the Detroit offense? You got like 10 seconds.
All right, Detroit offense. I like DeAndre Swift, running back. They got to open those holes for him. They got to have a nice balanced attack in Detroit. Otherwise, Jared Goff is going to make some mistakes.
Love it. Well, Jeff, it was a lot of fun. JB Ellis, JB_ the program on Twitter. I'm here a lot of nights a week for you with different shows. We'll see Jeff next week on the J&J Sports Express. Make sure you watch it. Subscribe to the YouTube. It's all at the bottom of the screen. Follow us at Twitter. Make sure you hit up Jeff Cadillac on Twitter. I'm JB_ the program. See you next week. We're out.